All right, hey VC, I'm Jamie. Welcome back. We are back with another video, and this is a vinyl thread response to Richard McCook. And congratulations, Richard, on 2 years in the vinyl community. And Richard's come up with kind of a fun idea for a thread. I first saw it done on Chris's channel, The Vinyl Orchard. So Richard McCook, again, great channel. Love his easygoing style. And his idea is to show a run of 2 albums by 12 artists that I don't often mention. They have to be consecutive albums. And it's interesting when you do something like this. I've tried to stick with just studio albums, but often when you look up the albums from any particular artist, it'll show the studio albums, and then they'll often list the live albums separately. So, you'll have the studio album, and then they'll have done a live album, and then back to studio albums. So I tried to avoid that kind of thing, just sticking with studio albums consecutively. And then for some artists, though, then they have an album, but then they do a side project or a soundtrack on the side. So again, I've tried as best I could to keep it consecutive album releases by these artists. Again, these are artists that I have shown, but I don't often mention. But some of them I don't think I've ever shown before. So we're going to start things off with the great Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. This is South of the Border. And of course, so we all know the sounds of Herb Alpert, and of course, this is followed by the absolutely iconic album, Whipped Cream and Other Delights. So there you go, some great 60s releases there, Herb Alpert. Great band that I don't, for whatever reason, show too much is the album or the band Blood Rock from the United States. I believe they're from Fort Worth, Texas, I want to say. So this is Blood Rock 3. They have just a nice, great heavy rock sound generally. So this is from 1971, and then this was followed by the iconic cover for sure, Blood Rock USA. The very sort of comic booky, lots going on there. Blood Rock USA. The follow-up. Okay, a sort of an art, described as kind of an art rock band from the UK, is the band Audience and The House on the Hill, featuring the great work of Hypnosis covers, Audience, and then that is followed up by the album Lunch. And I do like this cover. Again, I do believe this is another Hypnosis cover, but it's different for their style, and it's even kind of just a different album cover. I just like the sort of vintage or nostalgia about it. So that's the album Lunch for Audience. That was the follow-up to The House on the Hill. Now, an artist I've definitely mentioned, don't often chat about, is Jeff Beck, and this is the Jeff Beck group, Rough and Ready, of course, featuring Cozy Powell, and this was followed up by, quite simply, the Jeff Beck Group, 1972. So, Jeff Beck Group, and I believe this is like the third and fourth album, I want to say, something in that ballpark, from the early 70s. Here's a band that's been featured a few times on Robert's On My Turntable. He's quite a fan of this band. I like this band's early stuff, some of their later stuff. Their big hit was I Love You, which is a really nice radio-friendly ballad, but their sound by that time had gotten a little bit much more commercial. Talking about the Climax Blues Band, and gosh, they've got an extensive catalog. So this is Sense of Direction from 1974, Climax Blues Band, and that was followed by the album Stamp album in 1975. Oops. And there's a nice gatefold here. Lots of stamps. Climax Blues Band. Again, worth checking out, particularly their earlier stuff. Great guitarist that I've kind of been discovering through the vinyl community. I don't own any of this artist's stuff on CD, and hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name properly. I always feel like I'm not pronouncing it properly. It's Les Dudek, I believe, mainly a session guitarist, has appeared on another of other artists' albums, but his solo stuff is great. Great guitarist. So here is his debut, simply Les Dudek, and this was from 1976. And then that was followed up by the album Say No More. Les Dudek. Worth checking out. Really great guitarist, 1977. Great blues band. And for whatever reason, I don't think I've chatted about this blues band that features Jimmy Vaughn and Kim Wilson on lead vocals. Of course, talking about the fabulous Thunderbirds and Tough Enough. And, you know, that was pretty radio friendly. Great, still great blues band, great kind of blues rock, but my goodness, Tough Enough, of course, the title track. And this was from 1986 on CBS, and then followed by the album, maybe not quite as successful, but still, I mean, they just got a great sound. The Fabulous Thunderbirds and Hot Number, 1987 on CBS. Okay, an artist whose solo career actually I quite miss. I really enjoyed this Canadian artist. He's now the lead singer for the band Styx, but talking about Gowan, or if you look him up, he's under Lawrence Gowan or Larry Gowan, had a great solo career in Canada, and his albums are really enjoyable. This is from 1985. This is the album Strange Animal, working with a great band, including Tony Levin on bass and stick, Cosmetics, Gorilla Soldier, Your Strange Animal, and A Criminal Mind. Great songs, great sound. And then that was followed up by the equally great album, Great Dirty World. And on this is the song Moonlight Desires, great video, and the song features John Anderson from Yes on vocals. Awake the Giant was also a big one from this. But two solid albums from a really solid artist. As I said, he releases albums pretty sporadically now. He's mainly with Styx. Okay, an artist who doesn't have really a lot of hits, but I do enjoy his stuff, is Donnie Iris. And I found out just recently he was very briefly a member of the band Wild Cherry. I think he's on one album. But Donnie Iris had kind of a Buddy Holly look. His sound definitely wasn't Buddy Holly. It was kind of early 80s pop-friendly stuff. But I always enjoy the song Ah Leah. That's a song I never get tired of hearing, and that's the big hit from this one. Donnie Iris, Back on the Streets from 1980, and that now was followed by the maybe not quite as successful album from 1981, Donnie Iris, King Cool, with described as Donnie Iris and the Cruisers. Another absolutely a terrific artist that I don't mention too much about in terms of great Heartland America music is John Cougar Mellencamp, who was John Cougar, Johnny Cougar. By this time, he was going by John Cougar Mellencamp. Scarecrow, still a solid album from 1985. Rain on the Scarecrow, Small Town, Lonely Old Night, Rockin' in the USA. Solid album. And that's from 1985, and that was followed by the equally solid album in 1987 for this one, The Lonesome Jubilee. Another solid album, Paper and Fire, Check It Out, Cherry Bomb, John Cougar Mellencamp. Another Canadian band, Martha and the Muffins, from the late 70s, early 80s, had a really nice kind of pop new wave sound. Echo Beach was the feature track on this one, which still gets played today on radio. Martha and the Muffins. They would later change their name to simply M+M. And I found out just recently that Toya covered the song Echo Beach. I didn't know that. Toya from Robert and Toya, Robert Fripp and Toya, they have videos on YouTube, very entertaining videos that they put out on the weekend. But Toya covered Echo Beach. I don't know when she did that, if it was the 80s or 90s, but there you go. So Martha and the Muffins and Metro Music, sort of the sound of Toronto. And then that was followed by the album, maybe not quite as successful, but Trance and Dance, Martha and the Muffins. Oh, okay. And last but not least on the 12 artists, how about Susie Quatro? Again, an artist I don't feature too much. This is her debut album, Susie Quatro. Of course, many of us remember her as Leather Tuscadero on TV's Happy Days from back in the 70s. But this is actually an English press of this album. Susie Quatro seemed to be much bigger in the UK than in North America, but this is her debut album. And that was from, gosh, what year? I want to say early 70s, 73. And then that was followed simply by Quatro, the second album. There you go. And those are my albums and artists. So again, Richard McCook, again, congratulations on 2 years in the vinyl community. And Richard's always coming up with great videos, great spotlights, and great ideas for video and vinyl threads. So do take care. We'll chat again soon. Bye-bye.